morning and welcome to Daily Briefing. I'm Alex.
And I'm Sarah. June 23rd, 2026.
Today we're looking at a massive NBA blockbuster, sending Giannis to Miami, a historic World Cup milestone for Lionel Messi, and the passing of two American Titans, Clive Davis and Alan Greenspan. Plus, if you're waking up in Parker, Colorado, expect clear skies today, starting at 57 degrees, with a high of 84 and a low of 57 tonight.
That's a packed board today, so let's get into it.
All right, turning to U.S. news, and we have to start with the sports world turning upside down.
You're talking about the Giannis Antetokounmpo trade. I'm still trying to process the alert on my phone.
I'm right there with you. The Milwaukee Bucks have officially dealt Giannis to the Miami Heat in an absolute blockbuster of a trade.
This completely shifts the balance of power in the Eastern Conference. You put Giannis in that Miami culture under Eric Spoelstra, and it's just terrifying for the rest of the league.
It really is. Miami instantly becomes the heavy title favorite. They managed to pair him with their veteran core, while Milwaukee is forced into an immediate, total rebuilding phase.
The grades from ESPN and other outlets are rolling in this morning. It's fascinating to see how analysts are weighing Miami's sheer talent upgrade against the massive haul of draft capital Milwaukee got back in return.
Exactly. Milwaukee essentially emptied Miami's cupboards of every unprotected first-round pick they had for the next decade. But when you have a chance to get a generational player, you do it.
It feels like the end of an era for the Bucks. They built their entire identity, their championship run, everything around him for over a decade. Seeing him in another jersey is going to be strange.
Speaking of generational athletes extending their legacy, Lionel Messi just made World Cup history again.
He scored 2 more goals for Argentina in their latest match. That officially makes him the top scorer in the history of the Men's World Cup.
It's almost hard to comprehend the longevity here. We've spent decades really debating if he's the greatest of all time. Milestones like this just shut the door on any remaining arguments.
Doing this in 2026, at his age, is just wild. Most players lose that half step of pace, but his field vision and finishing ability are completely untouched by time.
The Associated Press noted how the stadium just erupted. Even fans of the opposing team were standing and applauding because you know you're watching history happen live.
It really cements his status, not just for Argentina, but in the global pantheon of sports. He's operating on a level that we might never see again in our lifetimes.
We also have some truly sad news from the entertainment world today. Legendary music executive Clive Davis has died at the age of 94.
He was the absolute titan behind Whitney Houston, Bruce Springsteen, Janis Joplin, Alicia Keys, and so many others. The list of careers he launched is just staggering.
The USA Today obituary called him the primary architect of the modern music industry. Looking at his track record, it's hard to disagree with that assessment.
He had this incredible, almost supernatural ear for talent. But beyond that, he had a genius for matching artists with the exact right song to make a massive, culture-defining hit.
Right? He wasn't just signing people and hoping for the best. He was deeply involved in the creative process, picking singles, shaping albums, and orchestrating these massive comebacks.
His passing marks the end of an era for the record business. He helped shape what pop and R&B sounded like for over half a century.
Jumping back to the NBA for a second, because the Giannis deal wasn't the only major trade shaking up the league.
Right. The Minnesota Timberwolves and Brooklyn Nets completed a major swap centered around forward Julius Randle.
CBS Sports gave the Timberwolves a grade that needs an asterisk. That tells you exactly how complicated and risky this move is for them.
Minnesota is essentially reshuffling their frontcourt chemistry to gain some future salary cap flexibility. But taking Randle out of that mix changes their entire offensive identity.
It's a massive gamble. Meanwhile, the Nets are taking what analysts call a sensible swing. They absorb Randle to raise their competitive floor without sacrificing their long-term rebuild assets.
It's one of those trades where we might not know who actually won for another 3 years, depending on how the salary cap shapes up.
Let's jump back to the World Cup pitch. France is officially through to the knockout rounds, but it was a chaotic path to get there.
They had a massive, lengthy weather delay before Kylian Mbappé completely took over the match.
He scored twice to secure the win, and he looked absolutely unstoppable out there despite the terrible pitch conditions after the storm.
Reuters noted that this performance maintains France's status as the heavy tournament favorites. It's hard to bet against them when Mbappé can just flip a switch like that.
Yeah, sitting in a locker room for 2 hours during a lightning storm usually drains a team's momentum. He just came out and systematically dismantled the defense.
He thrives in that kind of chaos.
And we can't talk about unstoppable forwards without mentioning Erling Haaland.
Norway beat Senegal to reach the knockout stage. The New York Times literally asked in their headline if Haaland is the scariest thing in football right now.
Based on that match, the answer is yes. He dominated the physical matchups, scoring with this brutal efficiency that Senegal just had no answer for.
The victory establishes Norway as a genuinely dangerous contender as we move into the advanced rounds. They aren't just a dark horse anymore.
Nobody wants to draw on Norway right now. Haaland's combination of size, speed, and finishing is just a nightmare for any defensive line to prepare for.
Coming up, we look at some major cyber operations taking down international botnets.
Moving over to global news, the Canadian Security Intelligence Service, or CSIS, just pulled off a major cyber operation that's turning heads.
They used a first-of-its-kind threat reduction warrant to neutralize 2 foreign-run botnets.
These botnets had infected Canadian servers and thousands of vulnerable IoT devices, turning them into a massive zombie network.
This is a huge escalation in how governments handle cyber defense. Instead of just playing defense and telling companies to patch their systems, they went in and actively cleaned the infected devices themselves.
The Hacker News reported that this marks a real shift towards state-level active cyber defense. They essentially hacked the hackers to protect domestic infrastructure.
And that wasn't the only massive cyber takedown we saw today. We also have the results of Operation Endgame.
This was a massive international law enforcement effort that disrupted the SOC Gaulish malware infrastructure.
They managed to clean nearly 15,000 infected WordPress websites worldwide.
SOC Gaulish has been a massive headache for years. They're the ones tricking users into downloading fake browser updates, which then steals their credentials.
Depriving these cybercriminals of access to 15,000 compromised systems is a massive blow to their operations and their revenue stream.
The hits against cybercrime just keep coming. Dutch authorities arrested, taking down 800.
It disrupts a critical piece of foreign state-sponsored cyber warfare infrastructure, right, as tensions in Europe remain incredibly high.
It really
But while those takedowns were highly successful, Dark Reading is reporting on a Chinese threat actor that managed to operate completely undetected for over a year.
They were covertly spying on U.S. academic, medical, and military research institutions, quietly siphoning off data.
Google's threat intelligence team finally discovered and disrupted the campaign. But a year is a terrifyingly long time for an advanced adversary to have access to critical research.
It underscores the ongoing geopolitical threat. We're talking about severe intellectual property theft targeting the most sensitive, cutting-edge sectors in the U.S.
When you think about the military and medical breakthroughs happening right now, the economic value of that stolen data is almost incalculable.
When we come back, a quick look at the latest headlines out of India.
Turning to India, Union Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan is aggressively accusing opposition leader Rahul Gandhi of fear-mongering.
This is all centered over the ongoing NEET medical exam controversy, which has sparked massive protests. Pradhan indicated the national entrance exam might transition fully online next year to stop these paper leaks.
Moving an exam of that scale fully online is a massive logistical shift, but it seems entirely necessary given the recent corruption scandals.
In the tech and telecom space, India's Geo Platforms is laying out ambitious plan for a sovereign LEO satellite constellation.
They're leasing satellite capacity ahead of their upcoming IPO to rapidly expand broadband coverage into rural areas.
It's a bold move to secure their dominant position in India and fend off global players entering the satellite internet market.
And down in Kerala, the CAG has flagged a massive, crippling debt facing the newly formed state government.
We're talking about an astronomical 4.85 lakh crore rupees in debt.
That's a severe fiscal warning. It highlights immense budgetary challenges and the need for immediate, likely painful financial reforms in the state.
Up next, the passing of an economic giant and some major moves in the crypto markets.
Let's talk markets and the economy. We've lost one of the most influential and polarizing financial figures of the last century.
Former Federal Reserve Chairman Alan Greenspan has died at the age of 100.
Reuters called him the U.S. Fed maestro through years of boom and bust, and that title really captures his tenure.
He led the central bank from 1987 all the way to 2006. That covers the 1987 stock market crash, the dot-com bubble, and the crucial lead-up to the 2008 financial crisis.
His legacy is incredibly complex. For years, he was revered for shaping modern monetary policy and keeping inflation in check. But later in life, he faced intense criticism for his deregulatory stances that many argue fueled the housing crash.
Good point, Sarah. Regardless of where you stand on his policies, his impact on global central banking strategies is just undeniable.
Looking at the boards today, we're seeing a sharp, painful sell-off in Nasdaq technology stocks spilling right over into digital assets.
Bitcoin dropped 2.5%, and Ether fell over 4% in a matter of hours.
CoinDesk reported this sudden dip triggered $717 million in liquidations across the major exchanges.
That's a massive wipeout for leveraged traders. It really signals a growing bearish conviction in the derivatives market as risk appetite dries up.
Tech and crypto remain highly correlated. When institutional investors start dumping high-growth tech stocks on the Nasdaq, they immediately look to de-risk their crypto portfolios too.
It's a stark reminder of how interconnected these asset classes have become.
In regulatory crypto news, Ripple just scored a major strategic win in Europe.
They secured preliminary approval in Luxembourg under the EU's MiCA framework.
This license is a big deal because it lets them offer their stablecoin payment systems directly to European companies.
It's a huge step for their regional expansion.
Exactly. While they continue to fight endless regulatory battles with the SEC back here in the US, they're quietly building a massive footprint overseas. The goal here is twofold: accelerate American quantum computer development while simultaneously hardening our national cryptographic defenses.
The underlying fear driving this is Q-Day, the day a fully functional quantum computer comes online and easily breaks our current encryption standards.
So what does that mean practically? Whoever wins this race essentially holds the master key to the global digital economy.
Meanwhile, the U.S. Senate passed a bipartisan housing affordability bill that contains a very interesting and controversial rider. This legislative move formally blocks the development of a digital dollar for the next several years.
Privacy advocates and the crypto industry have been lobbying hard against ACBDC. They argue it would give the government unprecedented surveillance power over personal spending habits.
Tacking a major monetary policy ban onto a housing bill is a classic Washington maneuver, but it absolutely gets the job done for the ban supporters.
And wrapping up finance, global asset manager Franklin Templeton has officially launched a dedicated crypto division.
They just completed their acquisition of crypto asset manager 250 Digital to make this happen.
Their on-chain product suite has now expanded to over $2.5 billion in tokenized assets.
On the tech side, coming up, OpenAI is rolling out some massive cybersecurity initiatives that could change how we patch software.
Turning to tech, OpenAI is making a massive push into cybersecurity with the expansion of their Daybreak initiative.
Walk me through that, Sarah. What's the ultimate goal here?
The goal is to automate the patching of critical software vulnerabilities at absolute machine speed.
They've already successfully generated functional patches for major operating systems like FreeBSD and the Linux kernel.
That's incredible. Finding vulnerabilities with automated tools is one thing, but having an AI reliably write the patch for something as complex as the Linux kernel is a total game changer.
It really shifts the defensive landscape. If defenders can patch faster than attackers can write exploits, it neutralizes zero-day threats almost instantly.
And they're taking this a step further with a new partner program called Patch the Planet.
OpenAI partnered with the security firm Trail of Bits to focus specifically on securing open-source software.
They're combining AI-assisted vulnerability detection with expert human review to ensure quality control.
Open-source maintainers are notoriously overworked, underfunded, and managing code that runs half the internet. Giving them AI tools to secure their code bases is a massive lifeline.
It's a fantastic use of the technology to shore up the digital infrastructure we all rely on every single day.
We're also seeing OpenAI's reasoning models make real, tangible breakthroughs in medicine.
A new study published in the NEJM showed these models successfully identified diagnostic leads for 18 previously unsolved rare pediatric genetic cases.
These are children whose complex conditions had completely stumped human doctors and specialists for years.
To have an AI analyze the massive amounts of clinical data and find the genetic needle in the haystack is just profound.
It highlights how advanced reasoning models are moving way beyond simple text generation and into complex, life-saving clinical decision-making.
But the AI news isn't all positive today, and neither is the broader security landscape. CISA has issued an urgent, red alert warning about a campaign called 40Bleed.
This is a massive cyber campaign that has already compromised over 86,000 Fortinet FortiGate appliances.
Russian-speaking threat actors are exploiting these internet-accessible security devices to gain a deep foothold into corporate and government networks.
If your organization uses Fortinet hardware, patching this needs to be a drop-everything, wake-up the IT team priority today.
86,000 compromised devices is a staggering blast radius. The potential for follow-on ransomware attacks is huge.
And speaking of vulnerabilities, hackers just found a very clever, modern way to seize high-profile U.S. government Instagram accounts.
They didn't steal passwords or use phishing emails. They actually manipulated Meta's AI support bot into resetting the passwords for them.
Krebs on Security reported this as a prompt injection and social engineering attack directed entirely at the automated agent.
This is exactly what security researchers have been warning about for the last 2 years. When you give an AI bot the power to change account settings, you open up entirely new attack vectors.
The hackers just tricked the AI into thinking they were the authorized users. It's a huge wake-up call for any company rushing to replace human customer service with AI.
CISA is also dealing with its own massive internal crisis today. Lawmakers are demanding answers after a catastrophic data leak.
A government contractor accidentally leaked highly privileged AWS GovCloud keys and internal agency secrets.
And they left them exposed on a public GitHub repository for anyone to find.
You literally can't make this up. The primary agency that warns everyone else about cybersecurity best practices is now in an active damage control operation to secure critical government infrastructure.
It's highly embarrassing, but it just proves that human error is still the biggest vulnerability in any security system, no matter how advanced.
Finally today, NASA's Nancy Grace Roman Space Telescope has safely arrived in Florida.
It's undergoing final preparations for a highly anticipated launch aboard a SpaceX Falcon Heavy rocket later this summer.
Once it's positioned in orbit, it's going to investigate dark energy, exoplanets, and infrared astrophysics, picking up where the Webb and Hubble telescopes leave off. From the basketball court to the frontiers of AI in space, today is a reminder of how quickly the balance of power can shift.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you tomorrow.
Take care, everyone.